We're really looking forward to this discussion of place. As working in an art gallery is such a treat because we get to live around art all the time. Ingmar Bergman wrote, when he was producing the piece he did about Mozart, he said, "I can't imagine what it was like to be in the studio with Mozart all the time." And that's really the way that I feel about this show. It's been such a treat to walk back and forth because our printer is in the other room. And so I have a reason to be ambulatory all the time. So anyway, welcome. I'm going to introduce Karen, and then she will introduce our panelists. And I'm going to refer to notes here. Karen is from Chicago, and she teaches now at Palo Alto College in San Antonio. She has had multiple solo and two-person shows throughout the country. This show is based on her work from Fulbright in Estonia, and she has also had another Fulbright in a group to China. She received the Dallas Museum of Art Dozier grant and has other just numerous grants that has supported her work throughout her time as an artist. She received a BA in Studio Art and Art History minor from Hope College in Holland, Michigan, and an MFA from the University of Texas at San Antonio. So, join me in welcoming Karen and our panel.
Well, first I'd like to thank you for coming. This topic hopefully will be one of interest to everybody, and we'll sort of talk about place as an issue, but just to start out, I really think that place is something we all have language for. It's not necessarily one that's purely academic, so I really hope that over the course of the discussion and topics that come up with our panelists, that you guys feel free to pipe up and ask questions or make comments, or if you feel better saving them towards the end, that's fine too. But again, it is something that should be a dialogue because we all have the ability, the experience, and the language to talk about place. So I'm going to start by just introducing our panel, and I'm going to use my notes too. I'll start with, on this end of the table, Megan Crigger, who is the City of Austin Art and Public Places Administrator. Megan joined Austin Art and Public Places program in 1997, initially as the Doherty Arts Center Gallery Coordinator, and then as Project Manager to Art and Public Places program. For the past 6 years, she has served as the city's public art administrator, increasing the diversity of public art opportunities throughout the city. She has managed over 40 public art projects, including Austin City Hall and Public Plaza Seating Time by Nagasawa. Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. I have images to go. I have visuals for this. And remind me, I'm supposed to be bringing these up. Sorry.
Your brand isn't good for They never do.
Okay. So here's just a full scroll through a few works while we're reading this. We have Seating Time. That's Buster Grego. And the East Austin Police Substation Forensic Lab Elevated Prairie by Louis Leggett. So let me tell you a little bit about the City of Austin was the first municipality in Texas to make a commitment to include the works of art in construction projects when it established the Art and Public Places program in 1985. By ordinance, 2% of budgets is allocated to commissions or purchase for art for public sites, such as airport, convention center, libraries, parks, police stations, recreation centers, and street sales. This year, June 2010, the American for the Arts Public Art Network picked 2 of AIPP projects as the part of the 40 best from across the country, which included Bill Davenport's Mushroom Field and Buster Graybill's Bait. Oops, that's not supposed to be in there. That's canceled. That's canceled classes from Palo Alto. So here's just a few of the public works in Austin, and we will come back and maybe talk about some of those more specifically. Let me come down the row to Chris Oglesby. Pause in here. Chris. Oops, my notes. My own notes. Okay, Chris Oglesby is the next person to the left. A current Austin resident, writer, and longtime Lubbock denizen. embarked on a literary project in 1998 called Fire in the Water, Earth in the Air, Legends of West Texas Music. An attempt to answer the question, why are there so many remarkable, innovative artists from Lubbock, Texas? Since March 15, 2000, virtuallubbock.com, one L shares the L, Virtual Lubbock, has been Oglesby's vehicle in his quest to understand the mythology of his hometown. Chris Oglesby was reared and educated in Lubbock, Texas for 24 years. He graduated from Lubbock High School and received his Bachelor of Arts and Doctor of Jurisprudence degrees from Texas Tech. His father was a coach at Texas Tech University, where his mother taught English. Chris has spent the better part of the last 20 years telling the world, person to person, face to face, how cool Lubbock really is. So here's a few screen grabs from his site. Chris has a lot of really great readings and essays that led to his book, and I would really recommend anybody going and reading. We'll quote from
Or buying the book and then reading.
Or in buying the book too, yeah. But that can
Not all
sort
of
of
them
whet
made it
your
into the book, though.
whet your
I have
appetite.
good editors. This is even an edited version.
So,
These are the reading lists.
oh, thank you. We'll get
passed
that.
out.
That's all right. And last but not least, by any means, is Chris Sauter, the person right to my right. My artist and my good friend. Chris Sauter was born in San Antonio. Oh, sorry. Were you born in San Antonio? Okay. Born in San Antonio in 1971. He grew up on his grandparents' ranch in Bernie, a small German town north of San Antonio. He attended the University of Incarnate Word, then Incarnate Word College, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1993. Sauter later received a Master of Fine Arts degree from the University of Texas in San Antonio in 1996. He exhibits nationally and internationally with solo exhibitions at John Michael Kohler Arts Center in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, Cueto Project, New York, New York, Fine Silver, Houston, Texas, Elizabeth D., New York, New York, Gallery Valerie Cueto, Paris, France, and Suzanne Villemetter in Los Angeles Projects, Los Angeles, California. In 1999, Chris was chosen by Oquienzer to participate in the Art Pace International Artist Residency in San Antonio. Most recently, Chris was the guest curator and writer for issue 65 of Art Lines, called The Back 40. He lives and works in San Antonio. So, thank you again all for being here. So what I'd like to do, and Megan reminded me that, because I have this whole introduction to the idea of place kind of written out to get us started, but that maybe I should tell you a little bit about how I came to the topic, and maybe about the work. So I was chair of my department for a very little while, in San Antonio, and realizing that I had undone everything that I liked about my schedule, my life, my ability to travel. So I sort of was sitting at my desk with a familiar case of wanderlust kind of creeping up, feeling the need to just escape and go see some other place. I'm very homebound. I mean, I like home. I like the creature comforts of home. I like the habits and behaviors and patterns and regularity of my context. And a lot of my work comes from that context. But I get anxious to get out of it now and again. So I started looking for ways to travel, and one of the ways I realized that I could apply for another Fulbright. So I started looking through the list of places to go, and I came across one in the arts that was for Estonia. And I literally had to look it up. I had to find it on a map, and that was sort of a new thing for me. So I started looking at the application process and starting the process of writing the project statement, because mine was a research lecture grant. So I started writing the project statement about what would I do in Estonia, or anywhere that I went. And so I realized that the topic of place, or the idea, the notion, maybe not necessarily the specific topic, because I hadn't read anything about it or studied place, but I always felt connected to it as an issue, as a topic. But really more generally as context, home, the domestic, my community. And so I started sort of writing about it as a topic and looking